Good evening, everyone. A very, very warm welcome. Monday night, 8 p.m. The Online Darts Live Lounge returns with tales, woes, and just about everything in between from a weekend in Butlins, Minehead. Welcome along, everyone. What a weekend it has been. Boys,
Yes.
How are we?
Well, I tell you what, Phil. I reckon I could do the full 2 hours on How Are We?
Yeah. We're not going to talk about the darts. We'll just talk about the weekend.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the best option to do.
No, in short, absolutely blooming tremendous. That was probably, in fact, it was. I'm happy to say, I think the best weekend I've ever had away with the darts. Watching darts as a punter, as a member of the media, like it was from start to finish, absolutely top draw. We caught up with so many people, and we'll get through it through the course of the show. We'll get through all the various different people that we need to name check and shout out and thank. Really, like we had some really like quite gorgeous interactions. We had a bit of a meet up with some of the guys from the chat room, which was amazing to see everybody and have a nice chat in person and have a pint with people. And the darts was absolutely superb. We got to catch up with the rest of the team. We got to catch up with you. It was brilliant. Yeah, best weekend of the year for darts, the UK Open.
And it's already sold out on Saturday.
And you can tell my voice is already struggling. That's that's probably due to a combination of shouting loudly over loud noise in nightclubs, shouting at people to tell them off and reprimand them, and enough ale to sink the Titanic. That's my voice is very, very much struggling.
I won't go into it. I won't go into it properly, but I can tell you this now, everybody, that I have never seen Dan. We all know Dan Simpson is a very, very happy chap, but I have never. Yes, I have never seen you more jovial or smiling as much as you did on Sunday.
I can't remember laughing so much as I have.
You were flying along. You were absolutely flying along, and I ended the weekend with an absolutely beautiful rendition of When You Say Nothing at All by Ronan Keating on the karaoke last night. You did send me the video of that. You need to send me the video of that, by the way.
Can as your friend, I'm going to protect you from that. I'm not going to send you it. I'm going to pretend you're from it. I'm going to protect your dignity on that one. Dan Simpson, the guardian of dignity.
You know from this weekend, my friend, my dignity is long gone. This weekend, it was a big one.
Fair point, well made.
Well, yes. Again, we had some filming planned today, which probably should have taken about an hour. I'm not going to lie, Jar, it wasn't your best day today, was it? Because of being slightly hungover. It took a little bit longer and there was a few too many takes.
Yeah, 100%. It's very weird that I have seen you both today. And now we are on stream together in 3 different parts of the United Kingdom. That's how I feel today. The fact that I saw both of you today, and yet we are now in 3 different parts of the UK. It's just a nice little thing on this one. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
That, like I say, before
I don't think it is. It took me 9 hours to drive home.
David, you laugh. Hang on. This was one of the highlights that someone actually came up and said this to Jar on the Friday.
Oh my God, I forgot about this. So obviously I got down there on late Thursday night, very early Friday morning, about 1:15 when I got down there from Cardiff. Cheers for throwing me under the bus with that one, Philip. Anyway, so I'm walking to go and rebook because obviously, as everybody who has rebooked for next year knows, like I say, it's sold out on Saturday, which I'm sure we will get to talk about whether we do have to think about moving it somewhere else, which I don't want to do, but the discussion has to be made. And as I was walking to the rebooking shop, by the way, it opened at 9 o'clock on Friday morning, and I got there for 9:15 thinking, okay, it'll be busy, but not that bad. It was out of the door to rebook. But as I was walking to the place to said rebook, a guy came up to me and said, "Excuse me." And I was like, "Oh yes, how are you, sir?" He said, "Just wanted to say, well done on being in the Barney Army." And I just went, "Well, the weekend's just going to go downhill from here, isn't it? Really?" And you know, but it didn't. It really didn't. It was my first weekend back with the darts properly for a long, long time, and it was just fabulous. It was absolutely. We met, as Dan said, we met so many amazing people throughout the weekend that came up and said they love the show, that they really enjoy it, and all that. And the fact is as well, and we don't like doing this sort of shit in terms of name dropping. That's not our style. But the fact that Mr. Littler, if you're using the chat room, by the way, Bookers, thank you so much for spending time with us all weekend. Was happy just to sit on our table at the back of the room rather than get the cameras pointed at him every 7 seconds. You know, it's one of those moments where you think, how have I got here? That's where I'm at. Like, it's that moment of like, how have I got to this point in my life that I'm currently sat with Luke Littler's dad and we're just having a chinwag? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those full circle moments a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it was unreal. The love that everyone got, and like, oh, we watched the show, we really enjoy it, and so on. So thank you all so much. The chat room's rammed already as well by the way. How we doing, everyone? Fraser is in. Mark, how we doing? Shelty is in. Gordo, how we doing? Dave, Marcus, Malachi, how we doing? Kieran, Owen, it is rammed already. We'll talk about the ITV coverage in a minute as well. James is in. Charlie, how we doing? Lauren, how do? Kay is in. Rob, how we doing? Lendl, how we doing, mate? Matthew, David Daniel is in. He's rammed. Hannah, how we doing? Adam, the Alexa gangs were quite funny. It was good. I enjoyed some of them. James is in. Bob's, how we doing?
Sorry, mate. I just want to jump in. Can we say a few shout outs to people that were near us throughout the weekend and people who came up to us? So again, in no particular order, I'm just trying to remember it in my head. We had obviously the guys. I can't remember the two. I can't remember the names of the people that came and saw us in Hot Shots on Friday afternoon. Yes, thank you, Daniel. That came up and said hello as well in Hot Shots, which was fabulous. So thank you very, very much to the people that did. We had the brilliant Davey from Ireland, from County Meath, who was with us on the table and was saying that how much he loves the channel, loves the show. So thank you very, very much indeed. I had Lewis as well outside on Friday night, who I was chatting to somebody, and he came over and was very, very polite, very, very respectful, and saying like how much, again, the show really keeps him going and that all that sort of stuff. It was fabulous. Hannah as well. She was great to meet her on Saturday. We also had a couple of others as well. Who were the people that were next door to us on the table from Newbury? I can't remember their names now, but it was that much of a blur. But they were really, really lovely as well. And we were saying see you next year and all that sort of stuff. And there was so many other people that I'm just trying to remember names that I said I'd give people a shout out to. And I'm sorry if I've forgotten you. It was a very heavy weekend. It was a very heavy weekend. But no, the love was incredible. And again, it reminds us all of what we do, and that people and we're glad that people enjoy it enough to watch it. So thank you very, very much.
This is it. It's a bit of a reality check, isn't it? Considering we started this in July 2020, the first show, and it was just like, I wonder how far we'll get. And we're now on 238 shows. People literally has it as a staple of their week. Monday night they tune in, or they watch it back when they're going to work on a Tuesday morning, and so on. So you guys are absolutely incredible. And also, one of my favorite people in the world has just dropped into the chat room. Anthony from the great state of Texas via the most wonderful city in the world, New York.
Someone's in the chat room. Dave, I knew I'd forgotten you, pal. I'm very, very sorry about that, because he was in the queue behind us. He was in the queue behind me trying to rebook alongside, I believe, his wife. I think it was his wife. It could have been his partner. What I'm saying is that the two of them were together. It wasn't just like a sort of a random thing. But Dave, thank you very, very much for being so kind. I'm very sorry to forget you, because that was at the start of the weekend. I'd just been told that I was happy to be that someone was happy that I was in the Barney Army. That's how my radar was all off at that point.
Yes.
And you lost a few brain cells between then and now, haven't you, son?
Those brain cells were definitely mushed this afternoon, I can tell you that.
Do you know what, boys? As Daniel told me on Sunday, all of this experience now, because look, again, I'm not going to go into it too much on the show. Everybody has put 2 and 2 together, I'm sure, and come up with 4. It has been a very tough start to the year for myself. So, it's all life lessons. And that's what Daniel has told me over the weekend. They're all life lessons. And I have learned some lessons for my life this weekend. That's all we need to know.
I've literally, my poor kids, they're hopeless this week because all my fatherly advice for the month's been dished out to these clowns over the weekend.
To be fair, Gob was on decent form. You didn't need to worry about Gob.
No, it was on top form. He was a good lad, good egg.
But this is how bad, Phil. This is how bad it has got. Now, if you watch the Fallout Bar on a Thursday night, everybody, right? This is how bad it's got. You know our dear friend Cam McFarlane. Dan said that I was worse than Cam this weekend, and that is where I know my life has plummeted, and it can never be recovered.
Amazing. Talking of the UK Open, it's perfect timing because on the other side of this, our guest is here. And as if by the magic, here we have Pete Rose is here from Sky Sports and the new host of PDC Darts on ITV. How we doing, buddy?
Long time no see, mate.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago we were in Somerset.
Tell you what, the Blue Sky Apartments look pretty good there, Pete. The Blue Sky Apartments in Butlins with all the bits on the back there. You made it your own there, mate.
I'm still covered in some of the paint that came off from the. No, Butlins is incredible, and it was just so funny seeing the same people on day 3 that I'd bumped into on day 1, looking a lot worse for wear than they did on the Friday. Some of them still wearing. I think most of them hadn't even changed clothes. They were still in the same fancy dress outfits. But you know, when you see someone in fancy dress on day 1 and they're fully invested in it, and by the time they get to day 3, they just don't want to be wearing it anymore. And I mean, you could go on and on about some of the sites, but it was certainly an eye opener.
It's a shame. It's a shame you never. Obviously, I know you can't because obviously you guys are working. But it's a shame you never ventured up to centre stage over the weekend for some of the entertainment, because some of the sights and the sounds you see in particular on a Saturday night at the after the darts are truly sights for sore eyes. So it's a shame you never get a chance to get up there.
You know what? There's a part of me, right, that thinks that would be great, and then there's a part of me that when it all went wrong the next day on TV, because I've stayed up in one of those karaoke bars till 5 o'clock in the morning, then they were, people are going to put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh yeah, he was awful on the telly today. Oh, and by the way, he was singing Sweet Caroline at 3:30.
There's a wise man, ladies and gentlemen. There's a wise man.
Dan, life lessons. He's already learned these life lessons.
Listen, hey guys, it's only tournament 2 for me. So, listen, when I'm a bit more, got a few more years under my belt, then who knows? Maybe I'll be ready to do that.
Look, your first Minehead experience, Pete. How did you enjoy it? Because it's completely different to the Masters, isn't it? The Masters is quite cool, calm, and reserved, but to the absolute chaos of a Friday in Minehead.
I feel like it was a bit like having kids, right? Like when people tell you that, people tell you it's going to be like really hard and like it's going to be, you're not going to get any sleep and it's going to be mayhem, but you don't believe them until it actually happens. Then you're like, oh my, yeah, this is really tough. I found that was a bit like the UK Open, and that the World Masters was my first, and one stage. All the big players were there. You could research everything. You could feel pretty ready for it. And then all of a sudden, that day 1, funny enough, I came off Sky Sports News at 5 and passed over to Emma Payton. She replaced me on Sky Sports News. So obviously the standard went through the roof at 5 o'clock.
Don't be silly.
But she was asking me how it was. And I said, you know what? It was that day 1 where there were 8 boards, 160. Well, it ended up being 158 players, and I was sort of. schoolboy error, really. I was trying my best to keep across everything, and I was starting to get a headache because there's so much stuff was happening. And so I'm already looking forward to next year, because I think I learned you just kind of like keep it a bit more simple in my mind. I think that first day I was like, you know, it was a lot. And this is where I think the difference between the likes of yourselves, you're all absolute darts experts, and there's so many people out there watching who know everything.
The word expert is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, Pete.
But for me, it's like I know, and I feel I know enough, but nowhere near like a lot of people and a lot of the people watching. So I try to get that across in my presenting a bit. I'm not going to stand up there and pretend to be, you know, an encyclopedia of knowledge. You know, I've known enough to get through at Sky Sports News over the years, and I'm hoping it's enough to sort of keep me afloat on ITV now, and leave all sort of. Leave the rest of it to the expert pundits that we have, who are all brilliant, you know. Just
to pick up on that bit there, I think this is what I've thought about, because obviously I watched a lot of the World Masters coverage because I wasn't there. I couldn't watch a lot of the UK Open coverage because I was busy bouncing around the boards. Yeah. But what I've noticed, and this is genuinely one of the biggest things that I've noticed as you yourself as a presenter, Pete, what you are really good at doing is bringing the best out of the talent that you've got alongside you. You are one of those presenters that never want to make your pundits, that your teammates, look like idiots. And that's a very, very rare skill in presenting. And what is it like working alongside, you know, Wayne, Chris does it, three, and obviously Webby at the moment, fingers crossed, he'll be back on our screens very, very soon. But what is it like working with that talent? Because the knowledge that they've got and the knowledge you bring out of them is quite special to see, even 2 tournaments in.
The guys have all been amazing. Like with me, you know, I think it's so important that we all hit it off. It's sort of off screen as well, and what have. You know, so, you know, Wayne, this is the first time I've worked with Glenn this time. He wasn't at the World Masters. He was brilliant. I mean, I'm from Newcastle. He's from Middlesbrough. The two parts of the world that don't particularly get on particularly well, but we struck it off straight away. You know, there's obviously Mace as well. Dan Dawson is just, he's astonishing how good he is. He's absolutely brilliant. And then, you know, you've got the likes of Mark in the commentary booth as well. I met Ian Danta this week for the first time. He wasn't on comms, but he came down and came seeing us all, which was great. Then you've got Polly, and you know, Alexa was there for the first time this time. I thought she did a brilliant job. It all got on really well. But with regards to pundits, thanks for that, mate. I just thought I had this sort of game plan from the start, and I sort of thought, I'm not going to come out here and try and stand in front of these guys who've played at the highest level and pretend to be this expert and try and trip them up with my own knowledge. And I just thought, I'm going to try and represent. Darts is the fastest growing sport around, right? Every time I go on TV with darts, there's going to be 1,000 new young people, old people tuning in who've maybe never watched it before. So I like to think of myself as the sort of gateway between the experts and maybe these new people that are coming to the sport. So I'll ask the most simple questions, like, you know, why is that better than that? And you know, why do you think he's going to beat that person? And why does he not have a chance? You know, the things that I think people at home might be thinking, rather than getting into people's player averages and how many 180s they hit, that I'd just be trying to fool everyone if I did that. So I keep it really, really simple. I let the experts come out with all the stats, and you know, like someone like Dan Dawson's just amazing at that. And so I leave that to them, and I just play the sort of the middleman that can give them to the viewers, because that's the viewers aren't there for me. They're not there for me. As good as a job as like the likes of Emma does and everything. The presenter really is just there to get the talent to the audience, and that's how I see myself, as a sort of middleman.
What do you think, Pete? Obviously, from the Sky Sports News background, you've had an oversight over lots and lots of different sports. Darts, like you say, is the fastest growing sport at the minute. There's nothing going as fast as that. From a broadcasting point of view, what do you think makes it so watchable? What do you like as a broadcast, as a piece of television? What do you think is making people tune in and then stay?
I think, well, there's a number of things, but I think it's the only sport everyone could say you watch it. It doesn't matter whether you're male, female, young, old, fit, unfit, whatever. You can stick the darts on. You think I could physically do this if I have enough practice. If I lock myself in my garage with a dartboard and a set of darts and do darts all day, there is a chance I could get to that level. All you need is a board and some darts. It's not like any other sport. Like you want to go and be a professional golfer, you got to go and spend millions on a membership and a set of clubs. You want to play football, it's impossible now. The talent coming in from all around the world. But darts, you've got a genuine shot. If you've got the motivation and the time to put all your time into it. And I don't know what you've seen, but we had a bit of a chat, and the guys have challenged me to enter the UK Open preliminaries next year.
I did see that. Let's see it.
So looking forward to that, and Glenn's promising to give me a few lessons. He lives about half an hour away from me, so I'm going to go and see Glenn Durrant, who's I think one of the best darts coaches about. So
I wouldn't expect a discount though, Pete. You'll be paying full rate from Glenn.
100%. He'll be charging me extra. Particularly as a Geordie, I'm absolutely sure. So yeah.
So, Pete, from the minute Matchroom took over the production, when did it become the possibility that you could come in to the darts? Because people were trying to surmise who the new presenter or presenters were going to be, and we've obviously seen Gabby do the World Series before. When did these conversations take place, and when did it become, yeah, I'm going to get into the darts?
I think I was just quite lucky in that I worked on the darts a long time ago when I first came to Sky, but more of a sort of Michael Bridgie type role, doing a bit of the reporting. And back then it was, it was Eric Bristow and Sid Waddell, who was one of my heroes. I've already got a record of saying it was, he was a Geordie. And when he heard my accent, he was, "Oh, where are you from, son?" I was, "Oh, I'm from Northumberland." You were absolutely brilliant. So he was a sort of broadcasting hero of mine anyway. And one of the reasons sort of I used to watch it back then was just to hear his commentary, which was absolutely sensational, and the one-liners he would come out with. So I'd done a bit then, but then when I had a family, working at Sky Sports News was a safe thing to do, because I had young kids and I knew where I was going to be, what days, and there was very little travel. I was in the studio and everything else. But as my kids have grown up, I just had this yearning to get back into doing some live sport again. I've done a lot of football in my early days at Sky, but for a number of years I'd just been doing Sky Sports News, and as much as I love Sky Sports News, I'd just been missing doing a bit of live sport. So this opportunity came up. I think that a combination of people here at Sky had sort of recommended, being asked the question if there was anyone who might be a good fit, and I think my name had come up a couple of times. So fortunately for me, I sort of went through an interview process, had a chat with the guys from Matchroom, and that went well, and they decided to take a gamble on me, and I'm so delighted that they've given me the opportunity. I really am, and it's I appreciate what a privileged position I'm in, and how much the sport means to people. I just put something on my Twitter actually, because there was one of those pages asking what people thought of the coverage, and I'm reading everything, and I'm reading what people say, and people say nice things, and you think, oh, brilliant. Then people criticize you, and I'm looking at it all. I'm thinking, but I'll take the criticism. I want to look at it. I want to see what people are saying, because even if people say nasty things, I think sometimes you can learn from it. It might be something that someone said I reminded them of Alan Partridge or something. I thought, yeah, maybe I'm coming across a bit pompous. And then someone said I was shouting too much. I thought, oh, maybe I do. I get a bit carried away. So it's all going into my mind. And what I'm wanting to do is I'll give it absolutely everything. I'll try my best. And hopefully in time, people look at me in the same way they maybe looked at a Dave Clark or someone like that, who was, and again, great mate of mine. And that's all I can hope. And that, I speak a lot to Emma. She's a very good friend of mine, and get her thoughts. She was actually the last person I spoke to before I went on air for the World Masters. So just my ears are open. I'm listening to the people I'm working with, people in the industry, and the people at home who are watching, and the likes of yourselves, when Phil, and when I see you, I'll always take on feedback and just try and do the best job I can.
The thing is, mate, and look, I mean, I say this quite a lot when I do when guests come on. Obviously, I do a bit of announcing many cricket. I do a lot of stuff in stadia, and unfortunately, I've got to that stage now where it's like you can't please everybody all of the time. There are going to be people that think your voice is grating. There are people that think you're the best thing since sliced bread. The big thing is that as long as you are being true to yourself, and I know you know this, but this is a life lesson. Again, we're talking life lessons this week. That as long as you're true to yourself, then that's all that matters. And at the end of the day, you're also learning on a job in the sense that you've had two big high-profile things on ITV. You're still learning, and everybody else is, because it's a brand new production. And I come back to it. The production element of the broadcast from Matchroom is absolutely outstanding. The fact they've added in that wire cam over the top of the main arena this year was absolutely outstanding. It showed the whole room. You see how big it is. The fact as well there was lots more. It felt that you were all connected a lot more. When I've watched from what I've seen from the weekend, you felt like you and Alexa in board 2, and then Polly in the multi-board hall. It felt that there was a lot more connection between the three boards, as it were, whereas it didn't really feel like that a little bit on the all. And that's no disrespect to ITV Sport, but I'm just saying the difference in that front. So, what have you seen a little bit for the Matchroom production, and in terms of where do you think the sky is on this? Where do you think the ceiling is for this? Because it just continues to impress everybody.
Well, I think that the reason why sort of the Matchroom ITV have pushed so hard to sort of improve. And again, there's no disrespect to the old crew, because look, Jackie Oakley's a great mate of mine, and actually she was one of the first persons that messaged. She sent me a message online straight away when it was announced it was me. That I thought it was really classy from her, So it's always hard in this industry when it feels like you're replacing someone. You never want to replace someone that you've got a great amount of respect for. And I think it wasn't I was necessarily replacing her. Obviously, it was a different team coming in and doing it, and I was just fortunate enough to be part of that team. But I just think that because Sky have been so good for so long, it's pushed this production to try. And I'm sure he won't mind me saying that the producer Simon Cole, he's a fantastic bloke, and he's got great vision for what he wants to do. And he said like almost like a team talk rallying cry out to all the crew today, just saying great work on the opening few tournaments that we've done. But we want to keep getting better. We want to keep pushing it. And it was like, any ideas you've got where you think we can improve that? And that, I think that's one of the best things about this team. And I think that why we're working on air so well is because we get on so well off screen. There's everyone's got a voice. If you don't think something's working, you say it. And everyone respects each other's opinions, and there's a genuine. It reminds me of being in like a dressing room of like a really good. If you imagine what it'd be like to play for a top football team, where you've got plenty of leaders and everyone respects each other, and that's sort of how the team feels at the moment. And I just think that they're really pushing to just be as good as they can be. And I think that's how I've felt being a part of it. And I think that I work for Sky Sports. So I'm sitting in Sky Studios right now. I've just, come off air. And I think Sky have done an unbelievable job taking darts where they have. And also they do that with all sports. And I think that it's just driven what we're doing over on ITV to sort of try and keep parity. And if both are pushing each other, only people that are going to benefit the people at home and the viewers, and the darts fans. So that can be a good thing. So I think it's good for both sides that they're both trying to do the best job they can.
Can I just can I jump in one? I want to indulge, because we get loads of darts people on as guests, and it's quite nice every now and again we get somebody from a slightly different background, and we're all sports fans as well. Like, we all sit and talk, and we love darts, but then we can talk about 10 other things. And like you said, you're in Sky Studios at the minute. From when you look back over that career, the Sky Sports News part, what I'm really interested in, if the most standout moment as like a real. Is there a real chaotic sort of breaking news moment where you've been lucky enough to happen to be in the chair at the time and it's come through, and is there anything in that really stands out as a good example?
Yeah, look, deadline day was when I've been at Sky 17 years. Like the original deadline days, transfer deadline days were like nuts, right? They were just like massive deals going through with like half an hour to go. I remember Dimitar Berbatov signing for Manchester United for, what was it, 30 million quid on deadline day. Andre Arshavin for Arsenal, and there was, so I mean, look, for me, the Newcastle take. I'm a Newcastle fan, right? I'm born and bred up in the northeast, and the takeover was amazing. And I've said, probably I wrote it in my book, and I think I was the first journalist to know that the takeover was happening. I found out on the Friday and that it was going to happen on the Tuesday, and it was one of the hardest few days of my life because I knew and I didn't want to say anything. I was caught between being a really good journalist and a fan, because I thought if I say something now on the Friday and it all comes out, it could scupper the deal, and then I will be responsible for
imagine being that man
remaining rubbish. So I sat on it, and what I did was I had a very confidential conversation with my boss at Sky Sports News, and I said, look, we need to be ready for something big on Tuesday, and sure enough, it all happened on the Tuesday. So I was here in the studio when it went through, and that was a big day. That was a big day. That's the one I'll always remember. And went on air shortly after and sort of held it together. And I
remember it well.
Yeah, so that was a great day. But so many highlights over my life. Most of them have been football related. You know, I spent a lot of time with Sir Bobby Robson before he passed away. I did a documentary on him, which it was very special to me, and I'm still very close with his family, Lady Elsie and his boys, Mark and Andrew. Do a lot of stuff with Kevin Keegan, who was a great hero of mine. I'm very lucky I get to meet all my heroes. I have to say that opening night of the World Masters in the darts is right up there in my career highlights as well. It was a real sort of, could be doing Sky Sports News 4 days a week for so long, I'd sort of almost got comfortable, and to really push myself out of my comfort zone and go, right, this is something new, it's a new sport, and want to give it everything. And I was off all of January. The January deadline day was the first deadline day I'd missed in 17 years. And I was off. I was just trying to get myself ready for the World Masters at the end of Jan. And when we came off air that first night, I came back to my hotel. As you know, you walk around the corner, walk to my hotel, went straight in my room, closed the door. I sat on my bed and I just thought, get in. I thought I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. This is gonna be fine. And it was a great feeling. It was like I'm here, and I feel like I'm the right person to be here. And it was the first time I thought, because you doubt yourself always in this industry. And after day one, I thought, nah, you know what? I can do this.
I love that, buddy. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got to be up early in the morning because you're on air, and then back up to the tune for Newcastle, Barcelona. Thank you so much for joining us as always.
And well done as well. Well done on the weekend, Pete, because it is chaos. But you, Alexa, Polly, Dan, Mark, Mace, Chris does it. I'm sure. I mean, I'll be watching back for clips of it probably tomorrow, because I'll still have Minehead Blues. But for everything that you guys have done is great, and I bet you can't wait till November now to go back down. There's only 2 stages to worry about then for the players. So.
I'm looking forward to November. I think the next one for me is maybe Copenhagen. I'm doing the World Series in Copenhagen. I've got the players. Got the Europeans in Dortmund as well, which would be good. But yeah, just really look forward to it. And anyone who watches this at home, please send. I read. I do. I'm one of them. I read all the messages, good and bad, on socials. So yeah, keep telling me, and I'll keep trying my best. I'll keep trying to improve.
There's a lot of people.
Thank you very much, my friend. Absolute pleasure.
There's a lot of love in the chat room. There's a lot of love in the chat room, mate. A lot of love.
Nice to hear.
Thanks, pal.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, Pete.
See you guys. All the best. Thanks a lot.
Wow,
that was class. Love that.
Do you know? Again, I talk about it from a privileged perspective, as that we are obviously in what we do, but that to see a bloke that is so happy doing something that he loves, you can't beat it. I don't think. And he just seemed really, really happy with how the weekend got, and deserves to be honest, because I never thought I'd say this, to be brutally honest, but I do think that the ITV and the Matchroom production right now is on a par, if not better, than Sky's. I really do, and that's not me trying to like compare. Apple. I'm not trying to, because I'm with Pete. If that happens and it continues to push, it helps the viewer. But that lineup is incredible.
If they match each other stride for stride, that's only good for darts fans, because we see some of the stuff they did at the Masters. It was like, hang on a minute. Now, again, it was hard for Sky to implement something straight away, but week 4 and 5, we've seen different bits added to their broadcast.
You would think it's got to make them think, can it?
Added here. That's a good thing that they're going to push each other to be the very best in broadcasting for darts.
Do you know what though? And I think you mentioned it at the weekend, Baz. You might have tweeted it yesterday or something. If they added Chris Mason to that lineup on Sky, oh my goodness, Wayne and Chris together are a match made in heaven. They really are, and we need more of it. We really do. Simple as.
Top tier.
Yeah, 100%. And I put it out as well at the weekend. And when the scoreboard went down on day one, game, right? I was trying to explain to people, it's easier to write, it's hard. So basically, the scoreboard works that there is all this data scraped in. It has to go through an Excel spreadsheet. You have to then pick out the bits of data you want to overlay onto the scoreboard screen. Now, this is the same for everyone that has a scoreboard. It's the same kind of process. The data comes in, you pick the bits that you want, whether it's front nine average or whatever. The reason it breaks is because there are so many processes in this data chain. One part of the data chain breaks, the scoreboard breaks. This is why it's so hard to get right, and there's no easy way of doing it. Now, if you just wanted a scoreboard, it would be easy, but then you wouldn't have the how to finish, the doubles percentages, the 180s, the 140s. If you just wanted 501, it would be easy, but you wouldn't have everything else that goes with it. Now, credit to Dion, who is the best director in darts. The way he worked around and found a solution to get the markers scoreboards in sight in between throws was stunning. And
Very
look,
clever. Very
and that
clever.
wouldn't have happened before. We would have been struggling to see it. And that just shows the level of director that he is, that within a few throws, he's got a workaround on the screen. Not perfect, but something that we can see the scores. And again, absolute genius. And I know everyone was kicking off on social media, the scoreboard's broken, and that's because it is a complicated tool. And it breaks on it's not just ITV and Matchroom it breaks. We see it break on Sky Sports. We've seen it break on the WDF, the Super Series.
Everywhere.
Because it's complicated.
And also, people could say, why didn't they use the scoreboard from the stage? That's because the scoreboard from the stage broke down. Because it was all on the same. It was all on the same link. And like I say, there was about a 15-minute period where it felt like everything completely went, and that's not the PDC's fault. Technology can break. That's how this game works. Like, it felt like obviously the streams went down and all that sort of stuff, but they got it back up and running as quickly as possible. They never want it to break. They never want it to happen, especially on the busiest day of the fucking year. But they found ways to get it sorted. Would you rather not try and do that, or would you they help technology?
It was kudos to a bad situation, making it workable whilst they try and fix it in the background.
Yeah, because the alternative is to take the players off the stage, isn't it? Like the alternative is to take the players off the stage and say we'll be back in
across all 8 boards.
And I guarantee you that's a bigger drama, isn't it? Everyone's whinging 10 times.
But also, this is and people know that we do bash the PDP when it is needed, but when they find solutions to problems and they get it done as quickly as possible, then why would we bash them for it? So if people think that we're just trying to play down, go down the middle, we're not. We are merely saying that that the problem happened that was out of their control and they found the solution for it. They didn't try and muddle on. They tried to get it sorted so everybody could still watch the darts. There's nothing wrong with that. Technology happens and it fails.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was really good. I know there's a lot of comments in the scoreboard. In the chat room, I don't like the new scoreboard. Look, I love it personally. Some people don't. I get it, but at the end of the day, they found a way around it, which is good. Other bits of the production that we touched on earlier that I really liked, when they put that 3-way split on the screen where all 3 stages could speak to each other, was superb. That was a massive plus, because before they just cut to the other studio. The fact that you had all 3 talking was a massive win for me.
Yeah, really, really impressive. And they seem like little things. And I think when you're used to just watching things on the TV, especially in this day and age where technological advances in the way things are put on a screen, nobody really thinks about them and about how they work and what goes into them. But when you understand the logistics of that venue and how difficult and challenging that is, first of all, to have the idea to do it and then actually deliver it, and deliver that in a way that is coherent and works well and is well understood and actually adds to what people are able to see and understand it's a big achievement. And I think there is, again, I was lucky at the weekend to speak to some of the people that are involved in that, and there isn't a desire, I think, or there isn't a thought amongst that group that it's done. And you probably, you speak to these guys a lot, Phil. They're not looking at what their current product is in terms of broadcast and saying, cracked it, better get our feet up. That isn't the current narrative at all. It is thinking, this is good, we're happy with it for now, what's next? What can we do? And there is a sort of continuous improvement thought process of how do we keep making it better? How do we keep making things... There is a balance, I think. And I think the scoreboard is a really interesting one, because I genuinely try and poll almost everyone I know that claims to have seen a darts game about. It's the first question. I'll get back and to work tomorrow, and somebody will say, "I watched the darts at the weekend," and I will say, "What did you think of that scoreboard?" And because I think the balance that they have to strike is somewhere between not turning off the darts fans that have been there for years and don't like change, and you've got to try and keep them on board to the point that they won't go and turn the channel, but you also have to both attract and retain new viewers as well, and you've got to try and find that balance of being fresh and new and evolving and in a way that looks like modern sport does, so that when people are flicking through Sky Sports or whatever channel the darts is on, it looks like it fits amongst every other presentation. It doesn't look like something old and draconian that simply we keep it like that because it's how the people that have watched it for 20 years like it. It's a tough balance for them to find.
Yeah, no, 100%. One thing I think I would like to see added, and this is more in the arena, I think the switch to Studio 30, is it 36 or 37, whatever it's called?
Yeah, 36. Yeah.
I think the switch to Studio 36 worked. The only thing I would like, and I think is that when it was upstairs, you had the 2 levels. So if you were at the back, you were higher and could see. I'd like perhaps a raised step maybe halfway along, so the ones at the back are higher, so you're not just seeing heads
right. So I said I got the move, and I still do, but I think that they kind of maybe set it up wrong. I think what they needed to do, well, first off, do you know what, Daniel? You said you were going to give a review of the amenities. All yours to begin with before we actually talk about that stuff.
I can see it from 2 angles, okay? Because there are certain things they did very well in that room that required that setup. So there is so first of all, the room's been done out. We've seen it when we were down there in November, Phil. They were busy. There was painters in every day, and there's new carpet. Yeah. You walk in. When you walk in, it looks very modern, beautiful, like gorgeous big bar. It's really nicely laid out. You're not queuing for a toilet. Like it's a really great room.
No,
Room's
you're not
good
queuing for the you're not queuing for the
size.
fucking toilet. Sorry, you're not queuing for the fucking toilet because you got to go to fucking Wetherspoons to get there. Jesus Christ, it was like honestly, it was like going to Spoonies to go to a toilet in there. That's the only thing.
Lazy.
Bad. It was bad.
Keeps your step count up.
A Reds bar.
So.
Reds.
So the room is perfect. The room's the perfect size, which is really good. But then what they've done is they put all of the boards along one wall. So you might imagine like the room's sort of the size of like imagine like a really big sports hall or something like, and you've got all the boards on one side. Now, what that means is you obviously have an opportunity to get along that side and view the boards, but it's all on one flat level. So once you've gone back 3 or 4 people in a row, if you're not over 6 foot tall, it's hard to see. And it's difficult to really build up much of to feel like you are watching a game. The beauty of the multi-board room is you can actually watch some people play darts in person. You're watching someone play on the board instead of on a screen. But what I sort of noticed is if you were more than 5, 6 people back, they were looking up and watching the screen. At one point, I saw a bloke watching a game on his iPad that he was 10 meters back from. Like he was it was what I thought he must have. I saw him. I thought he must be watching a game in the other room. I'll have a peek round and see what the scores are. He was watching the game that was in front of him. So I think, well, ideally, maybe you'd have like 2 boards on each side, 1 on the end, or you'd split it between both sides of the room because you would give more opportunity then to get a good view of each board because you'd spread out essentially the length that you could get people at the front for each game. Now, the difficulty in that, because I think that's a better layout for the people in the room. But there was from a broadcast point of view, there were some really good things. So as soon as we'd said we will be on the barrier for Martin Lukeman's game, and we were indeed. We were right at the barrier.
No. Say his name properly.
No, the shenanigans have ended, and I'm very tired.
Martin Luke, man.
But we were right on the barrier for Martin's game, and it was a great watch. Like it was an absolutely superb watch. But immediately once the game was finished, Polly and remote cameraman were at the board straight away with Martin, getting a great interview, a great bit of extra content. People at home are getting to hear from more of those players that aren't on centre stage or aren't on the main stage, aren't in Reds. Now, I think if you then spread that around you have boards on each wall, you probably then create a bigger challenge. Do you need then 2 cameramen? Is it going to be hard for Polly to get from one side to the other and move around? Whereas on that wall, you gain that extra broadcast experience and you gain those extra interviews. So I think they could set the room up better, but I understand there might be a few challenges.
The only bad thing about that interview for Martin was the fact that Gob and Cam were in the background shouting Martin, Luke, man. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that we saw how it worked in the old room in Bolton in the Horseshoe, and remember the days when Rod Studd was running from board to board to board, doing the commentary on the red button and all that sort of stuff. I think that could work again. I think that a Horseshoe probably would work because again, if you sat down in the back of Studio 36, you couldn't see a fucking thing. And even TVs were
having enough room for the practice area in that room as well. And
I do understand that,
because you think a multi-board room is very busy in terms of players, so adequate practice facilities, and that can't be underestimated how important that is for the players more than anything. Yes, look, we want it to be better, and so more people can see it, but ultimately the players have to be able to practice and get ready as well. So it depends on where that is to getting them on and off easily as well. But look, could they make improvements? Yes. But I thought the switch worked as well.
Yeah, I thought again, I saw the reason why they did it. I mean, to be fair, the tribute tax on Friday wasn't worth it. I'll be brutally honest. Not my cup of tea.
It wasn't tribute tax.
I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention because they were that crap. I would have happily stayed in on the green on Friday night. But Saturday, the Madness Shooting Tap were class. And Sunday, the Sons of Glastonbury people were fantastic. Really enjoyed that as well. I love the fact that we've gone 50 minutes into this show and we haven't actually talked about a single dart that happened at the weekend.
It's because it's the UK Open. It's the only one where it's acceptably
far better to talk about than darts. We always
there is not, Daniel, and you know that.
We always talk about darts. It'd be nice to have a change.
Yeah.
To be fair, on the UK Open itself, have you got one standout game, chat room as well, one game that springs to mind instantly?
Not necessarily for the darts, but for something else that happened.
You're talking Charlie Manby, James Hurrell?
Possibly. Needle!
See,
we saw it. We were in the multi-ball room when it happened, and we saw it. And we were like, Jesus Christ, they're really getting into it, especially because Charlie and James are quite good friends. So I don't know what, but to be fair, and this is the thing, Charlie brought a load of people with him, which is fine. No issues at all with that. But Charlie brought a load of people with him, and I don't think James was particularly happy with what had gone, on that one. But I just thought, it's just at the end of the day, it's a game of darts, isn't it? It's a game of darts. Just play darts. So you want to do, play darts. But yeah, that was a good game to watch as well. To be honest, I thought I'm just looking through. Yeah, that's probably the game that I will really enjoy. Yeah,
I think when you've been there, like for various different reasons, there's different things, so if you're watching on TV, then you might be looking for, standout moment. I thought that Johnny against Gezi was a superb game on Sunday. I thought it was a great, and it's always going to be, people can moan that they see it a lot. Well, then again, I'm sure we'll come on to people's moans about seeing the same things regularly.
Yep.
If people don't want to see that game so often, the other players will need to be better and put themselves into positions where they are going to be able to compete for a quarter final. Now, for me, actually in the location, there was.
I've just thought about it.
I had a 6-minute spell where we were in Reds. And so I watched 3 legs in a row. And because of the logistics, because it's Minehead, 3 different games. So I was in Reds and I watched in the room Danny Noppert hit the 9-darter.
That was class.
That was for the 10th leg to win the game. Then the next game starts. The next leg I saw, Joe Cullen reeled in the big fish. 170 checkout. At that point, we thought we better go in the main room because Luke Littler's on. We walked into the main room to see Luke Littler take out 132 bull double 16. So in the space of 6 minutes, we are in the room present, right up close. I watched a 9-darter, then someone reeled in the big fish, and we got 1, 3, 2 bulls. It was one of the most magnificent 6 minutes of darts anyone's ever seen in the flesh, and that's from being there, that was a standout. But there were some superb games. I think where I really enjoyed watching games at the weekend was often simply because, and I'm not saying that they weren't great games, but I really enjoyed going to watch people that we are lucky enough to know and talk to and having met, and with the people that we've had on as guests. We had Niall Cullerton on as a guest a few weeks ago after he won his tour card, and we were able again to get right on the barrier for Niall's game and to watch him play, and he played some really good stuff. And they were, in terms of the games I enjoyed the most, it was where I actually sort of cared about who won or seeing someone do well. So that was really good. I thought the final was very good. And I very much enjoyed both semi-finals, to be honest. I thought it was...
Yeah. I thought that first semi-final was incredible.
Really, really, really good Sunday evening session. Very good.
Yes. Yeah.
So our press room was located within Reds this time, and we could feel the atmosphere. when Gerwin Price was 9-4 down to Keane Barry, I've not heard an atmosphere like that for a long time in terms of how Gezi has spun the crowd around in his favour. And I've been telling people this for years, that Gezi is one of the nicest blokes you will ever meet and didn't deserve the shit he was getting. Now, they literally were singing his name. We were walking in a Gezi Wonderland. And that spell of darts he produced, those 6 legs on the bounce, we were watching it through the curtain, was magnificent.
Yeah.
And if Gezi doesn't win a TV title this year, I will be absolutely astounded because, again, he produces brilliant darts.
Just one, I just thought, as you're talking about the spell of darts.
Yeah.
Jeff Reed has won 4-1 up against Sam Whitaker. And Sam Whitaker's just gone on, what has he got? 15, 15, 12, 13, 11 to go and win the game.
Something like that, yeah. It was...
That was first, and that was the first round. And I was like, bloody hell, where the did that come from? You know, and there are so, the thing is that the UK Open is about stories. And yes, people can moan that there weren't any stories involved and that all 7 of the 8 quarterfinalists have at least played in one TV final and won it. But unfortunately, the other players have got to be better.
Yeah, if the other players had beaten them, then that wouldn't happen, wouldn't it?
As a wise man would often say once on this show, don't be mad, be better. And it's absolutely true this weekend.
Correct.
Yeah. There was an interesting one where Gary bust 168, which was hilarious.
I don't think he
thought he was. Did he think he wanted Did he think he wanted 165?
No, he just threw because he knew he was in that area and he plumbed the treble and he was like, no score. Then he looked at what he hit, looked at his score, and went, and then took his
time with the glasses.
Yeah, tell you what, there was. I don't know whether it's just the chaos of the UK Open, but I did seem to notice more either sort of miscounts or, let's say, maybe perhaps counting errors, misunderstanding of scores, busting scores. We seem to see quite a bit of that across the board. That we're not certainly more than we're used to seeing.
Let's call it out, Daniel. There was shit board management. There was shit board management this weekend from a lot of players.
We saw quite a bit of poor board management, I would say. Yes.
Yes.
Also, it's ridiculous that we were one result away from having the identical semi-final lineup to last year. Considering this is an open draw, you can draw anyone. To be one result away from the identical lineup is mind-blowing. And I'd love to know what the odds would have been, considering, like, if those players are in the same seeds as last year, it's more likely. Where this is baffling, like one of those things that you're like, wow, how has that almost happened?
Well, you look at it again. I come back to it. I do come back to it. If you don't want the same results, be better. Do you know that's a simple fact? I mean, this is the second. What is it? The second time in a row. Obviously, we had the same final. It's only happened once before, hasn't it? That was when it was MVG Peter Wright, 15 and 16. Now, obviously, I know that there's a lot more media outlets now than there were back then. But I can't remember people moaning that much that we had the same UK Open final that time around. Yet people seem to be moaning about it a lot this year.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I wonder why that's the case.
Yeah, but ultimately, the semi-final lineup was sensational. James Wade has played another fabulous weekend of darts. The way he produced against Van Gerwen and then against Price. This is James Wade at another level. We haven't seen
against Van Gerwen and Price, you say? Those two Premier League players. He did play very well against them, didn't he?
He did.
Just a quick one. That's his third major final in 12 months. Do you know how many Stephen Bunting, Josh Rock, Gerwin Price and Johnny Clayton have made combined in the last 12 months? 1. The case rests, Your Honour.
But this goes to what we say, that the Premier League just isn't about what you do on the board. It never has been and never will be.
No.
Has James Wade on the board done more than them? Quite possibly.
Yes.
However, the other stuff that goes with it, that goes part of a broadcast, as part of everything else that goes with a major tournament, does he tick those boxes? Maybe not. And this is the balance.
I understand that completely. And I get, you know, let's be honest, we're all grown-ups. We all understand that, you know, certain decisions, you know, let's be blunt, right? As always. The Premier League is not a ranked tournament, right? And when you don't, when it's not a ranking tournament, right, then it is, I mean, the word is probably, most probably, it's discretionary, right? My point of view is if, and I'm not saying I'm not going to do this, right? But if I run a £50 million touring exhibition, and I'm not counting it out just yet, but if I do, then I will probably pick James Wade because I think he's done enough to make, and this is the key, right? I think that if I was coming from a point of view where I wanted to broadcast sports on television, I wouldn't be thinking about, because first of all, I've already sold the tickets a year in advance, so I'm not thinking of who's going to sell the most tickets, and I don't really care how many t-shirts I sell or anything else. I'm genuinely going to think of what will produce the most entertaining darts that is likely to be like shared, repeated, go on all the different channels, because the darts will be better. And James Wade consistently plays better televised darts than other people and creates very, very big, impressive headline moments.
Before we go any further.
Yeah.
There he is.
He knows.
He knows. It was great to see you. Yeah, I was just saying before, it was great to see you, Lisa, and all the Littlers there this weekend. And it was a pleasure to have you on our table, pal. Hopefully see you the same time next year.
And Dan, I agree with that part, but here's the other bit that goes with it. As part of the broadcast, the narrative, the shoulder content, which is all has to be taken into consideration. This is the way the world works now, is you are spot on. From a darts point of view, would I pick him if it was just down to that? 100%. There's not an argument. However, from a broadcast point of view, can it be trusted to do a live flash interview on stage?
He's all right. He was all right at the end of the game on Sunday night.
But a one-off, yes. But you've got 16 weeks of that. You've got 16, and this is the other things. Can you then go and do weeks and weeks and weeks of media?
I understand that, right?
This is the problem. If it was just, are you picking someone on darts ability? No question. Look, James Wade is the only player I can make a case for to be in the top 10 of all time without winning a world title because he's that good.
Agreed. Not even absolutely. He's the only player
in the world that we live in. It's not just about what you do in any sport now. What you do on the pitch, on the board, on the track, and so on. It's the complete package for these events.
Yeah, but if you want one of the best darts players, if you want the best 8 darts players in the world, in the Premier League, James Wade is the fact that him and Phil Taylor are the only people to win 3 majors in 3 different decades. The longevity of the man is ridiculous. I totally get where you're coming from, Phil. I genuinely do. But this is now this is a major, excuse the pun, problem here for the PDC. Because again, what that does is that it makes a little bit of a mockery in a way, a bit of the Premier League. Because I'm with Dan as well, in a sense that it's an expo. It's an exhibition. It's an invited tournament. We invite who we want, and that's fine. But if you want players that are going to be producing on television for the past 12 months, James Wade's done that. He's made 3 finals of 3 ranked tournaments, TV ranking tournaments. And as I say, Bunting, Clayton, Price, and Rock have made 1 between them. The case rests, unfortunately.
Joel, where is it? Not that one. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying this is how it works.
Yes,
is the thing. And
no, I just and again,
look, I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying I agree. I said I'd have him in, but this is how it works. This is how people look at it and shoulder content that goes with it. Social media impressions. What clips can we put on social media and so on? What helps the product? What damages the product? These are all things that are now taken into consideration in every sport, not just darts, everyone going.
The problem with that, though, Phil, is that in most other sports, the biggest tournaments and prize money is a meritocracy, and you can get there. So if you've got the 4 biggest tournaments in tennis, and you don't need to be invited to play Wimbledon, or you aren't allowed to play. If you're good enough to play, you'll play, and if you beat everybody, you'll win it. The problem, I genuinely understand all of the reasons that people put forward. My one, I suppose, sort of closing view on it is that James Wade not only is one of the best players in the world at the moment and over a very long period of time, the last 2 years has been considerably better than most other Premier League players. And he hasn't been invited to the Premier League since 2022. Since 2022, his form has continued to keep getting better and better and better and better. And if they continue to not include him, sooner or later, I think there's a point at which that could become, it could look not very good. It could look like he's being targeted.
Yes.
And that's not a good look. It's not. And I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that the perception, like if you say, well, that bloke he's still in the top 10 and he's still there. What I think is probably going to happen, and it makes for a very, very interesting conversation. Like, James Wade is back up to number 6 in the world. He is within 12 grand of number 5 in the world. If he continues with the same form we have seen for the last 12 months, he's in the top 4.
Yes.
Well, you touched on the meritocracy bit. There is with the Premier League still. Get in the top 4 and they have to pick you.
But
you're in the top 4. No, they have to pick you.
But PB, you know as well as I do that those rules can be changed.
They can, but I don't think they will. I don't think if James Wade was in the top 4, I think they'd pick him. I genuinely don't think they change it.
Well, they have to currently, as it is. But
I think they would pick him. So with the Premier League, there is still a bit of meritocracy in it. Get in the top 4, you're in. If you're outside the top 4, it's in the lap of the gods.
Well, speaking of the world number 4, I'm sure he was very happy to be moved to Reds for the first time ever in his career on Saturday.
Yes. Not.
So now you've got James Wade can make all these finals, and he misses out on the Premier League for a lad who plays in Reds.
Reds. No, hang on. Half the Premier League boys are on the outside boards on Friday night. By the way, final thought on this, on games as well. Dobie Wade on Friday night, that was class.
Oh,
I know it wasn't necessarily the result that you wanted, but absolutely quality game.
Unbelievable game.
Amazing game. Yeah, really superb.
So unbelievable game. The final itself was only close because of James Wade. And again, this is a compliment. Anyone else that is averaging almost 10 points less than Luke Littler gets battered. But James Wade finds a way to win legs he has no right to. He finds a way to take out a 1-2-1, a 1-2-7 and pile the pressure on. It is wading at its very, very best.
One thought I need to talk about Josh Rock quickly as well for making a semi-final. I do think there's a little bit of a mental block there. I really do. I think I've said this for a while around the top, the top players when they're at their peak, Taylor, MVG, and Littler in particular. There is something that even for the best players, even though Rock plays with him in the Premier League and all the rest of it, I still think there's a bit of a mental block there. Thinking, Christ, I'm actually going to finally beat him on TV. Because when you're 9-7 up, you've got to be thinking, especially when you've got the throw twice as well, you've got to be thinking you can get that job done.
Yeah, possibly. But look, he'll get there.
No, I'm not saying otherwise, but I'm just saying that he has to keep using this as a learning experience. But there's only so many times as a learning experience that you can make it before we then have to start, in my opinion anyway, start questioning. I appreciate he's still very young. I appreciate that he's, still extraordinarily young, talented, and I'm not disagreeing with that. You know my thoughts on Rocky. But there will have to come a time where the stop is young, he's this, he's that. And then people go, ooh, actually, can he actually get it done? Because that's the second semi-final, obviously, in 12 months in Minehead. Last year we lost to Wadey, this year we lost to Littler. I don't know. It's just something that...
Keep putting yourselves in those positions, and in the end,
I agree, but...
Keep knocking on the door, and in the end, the door will open.
Well, we hope so, but it didn't for Terry Jenkins, did it? It didn't for Dave Chisnell.
It did for Bully Boy, though.
It did for Bully Boy. It did do for Humphreys. Again,
So
there are arguments, but...
Keep knocking on the door, you'll get there.
But going back to it, oh, dear. We try and tip up all these different names that maybe go and win the UK Open. And then Luke decides to ruin our weekend by going to Cardiff on Thursday, absolutely smashing everybody off the board, and then coming and winning a UK Open finals weekend with his C game. Was his C game in the final?
I don't think he got out of third gear at maximum at any point this weekend. I think he was chugging along in second and every now and then blipped into third gear.
I thought we were going to see it after that first break in the game against Josh Rock. I thought, it's what he did at the match play, isn't it? Like that's what we saw when he goes into a first break, 4-1 down, 5-0 down. That's when we saw the level lift and him go through the gears. And then he obviously leveled that up. He got that back to 5-all at the second break. And then at that point, he did just seem to be able to keep him, at arm's length. And, I know it sort of went backwards and forwards and it swung a little bit, but I thought that's when we were going to see that next gear from him. And it didn't. And thankfully for him, he had enough. But I think there were some scary moments in that game. There were some games there where there was a lot of doubles missed early in that match.
Do you know what? Here's one for you. Sorry, just say I was throwing on the Blade X. I'm sure people have been talking about it in the chat room. We'll get to that in a minute. I was throwing on the Blade X up in the office today with Barzi. I hit tops more often than Littler did over the course of the final session. I'm not even joking. I was absolutely pigging him in. He was missing tops and 10s for fun.
You're working your way up to overarm, though, aren't you?
That is true. Yeah. I was only 2 inches away. I was only 2 inches away from the board. I'm starting to work my way back to where the hockey actually is.
Yes, and you will still continue to get lots of bounce out if you're using the magnet ones on the Blade X as well. That's,
that's.
But it was
sorry.
There were a few, there were a few moments where I thought this is where he'll get his foot down, and I don't know whether it's maybe just because he didn't need to, because Luke often is able to shift gears with his opponents, which is why when we've seen the Humphreys hit those really high levels and MVG hit those really high levels, Gary Anderson hit those, that Luke has gone with them, and that's where we see those monster performances. But I don't know whether a little bit is just because he didn't need to.
I think
didn't Nottingham lit the fire.
I think a big thing here, for me at least, honestly, is the fact that what did I say to you during the semi-final with Rock when he was 4-1 up? I went, if he goes back into the break level at 5-all, he's got him. I just knew, because again, what do we always say? You're not worried though, are you? Even if he's behind it again, you're not worried, are you? You're just not.
I do get a little frustrated, and we've had quite a bit of it in the chat room today, right? But I get a bit frustrated with this. Now, darts was dominated by one player for a very, very long time. A very long time. And whilst Luke has played amazing, and I don't take anything away from it, like, he's gone back to back. This has been a period of like 2 years. Like that's this has been this period where he's winning lots of things, and everyone's going, oh, same result again, and same, and I'm not going to bother watching because Luke will win again. Like, I don't think that people stopped watching Formula One when Michael Schumacher won 7 world titles. Like, I don't think, like,
Same with Lewis, really.
I don't understand this, like. But, and again, it's not like he's won 10 in a row and it's sort of like, and there's no competition. He's gone back to back, and the standard around him is very good. But I don't really understand this, like, oh, well, we know who's going to win, so we won't watch. It's baffling.
Two reasons
people
for this.
didn't do it with Federer in tennis, did they?
2 reasons for this. One, the British public in particular don't like winners. I've said that for years. They don't like winners. And 2,
no.
Fact is that people get bored of seeing the same thing. As I said before earlier, you either remember 2 years ago when he made the world final, and everybody had the attention on him, and he was this next great thing. Now people just want to try and knock him down. You either die the hero, or you've lived off long enough to see yourself become the villain. But the main thing is, unfortunately, in this country, in particular in Britain, they don't like winners. It's as simple as that. And because people want to see something different, it's crap. It just is. As I keep saying, don't be mad, be better. We need the player. If you want to beat him, go and do it.
Yeah, if that's your view, your frustration is with the other dart players, not with Littler, because they're the ones that didn't beat him.
Because he's miles clear of everybody. They've got to get better. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going back to that as well. Who was the only, like I said, the comment that we put up earlier? Wadey, the only player to beat Littler on a TV major now in the last 12 months.
Well,
and he's done it with the Prem.
The last time he lost in a TV ranking event was the 25th of October. When are we going to start to think it's possible that he holds the lot at the same time?
Honestly,
we've already started to think it's possible. It's very possible.
Not for me.
I'd go beyond saying it's possible, and I'd suggest it's likely. Is where I'm at the minute. I've not seen enough evidence of other people being able to beat him in a long format game.
No, but there's 2 big things here. I will believe it's possible if he goes and wins the one that he's got left to win. If he goes and wins the Euros, then I'll believe it's possible. Because the only chance you're going to get at him, is in a short format game. The only way you're going to get at him is if you get him early, you have to get him in round 1 or 2 at the Players' Championship finals or the European or round 1 of the Euros. If you don't get him, he will piss it. He'll piss the lot. Those are the only opportunities.
There's one before that he's vulnerable early as well.
World Grand Prix.
Under that set because of the format.
Yep. 100%. You've only got to win 6 legs. Again, you've got to win 6 legs. If you can win 6 legs against him, then you've got to check that. Obviously, you will beat him in round 1. That's the only time you're going to get. Those are the only 3 occasions, in my opinion, you are going to get at him. Unless someone goes and averages 115, in which case, fair enough and fair fucks to you. But, the World Cup does not count, Joel. The World Cup's a made-up tournament. I'm only saying that just to piss this lot off.
The thing is, see, I'm still far more towards, on the scale, we've done graphs, haven't we, John? On the scale between, this is where I don't think it's possible, and this is where I think it's definitely going to happen. I'm nowhere near, because I get what you say. I completely get what you're saying, Phil. That first round of the European Championship, he's not won it before, and it's best of 11. So if he's going to come out and race to 6. But then what I think is, it's also a seeded tournament where he's gonna be unlucky if he catches someone in that first round with the seeding that's going to be able to turn him over. And I know everyone on their day, and he might have an off day and turn up an average 80 one. Who knows? But
Steady on.
see what I mean? It's just so unlikely that he plays bad. So I think, and then so you've got a seeded draw, and then you're immediately in the second round going into best of 10. First of 10, sorry, best of 19.
Yeah, but remember, the European Championships is different because it's done on your European Tour ranking. If he sticks to what he says, and he is not going to play a European Tour in Germany, and he's only going to play in the 6 or 7 outside Germany, the likelihood is his seeding is going to drop because of that. Then you're in the mix. Then you might end up with a James Wade, a Luke Humphries, a Michael Van Gerwen in round 1.
Well, we go back to it. He's already out of the one European Tour event he's played so far, he's won it this year.
Oh,
he's already qualified for the Euros, and so therefore, then if he goes,
he's not going to be able to hold all at once.
Why's that? Yes, he doesn't care. Love it. Full plays. Love it, Buckers. Love it, pal.
To be fair, if he
might
wins the
as
Euros,
he's got 4. He's got 3 events left.
Everything up until and including the Euros, he will hold them all at once.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
just not in the he won't be able to do the calendar year one.
Darts.
But it will hold them all at once.
Yes.
But yeah, no, like we say, I know we've got to go talk Premier League in a minute because obviously we've talked about the UK Open for the last hour and 20 minutes. There's just 2 chats I just want to start. I want to talk about. Firstly, this one from Andy, which is about the dartboards. Obviously, the ball ban says a lot of people have been talking about it in the chat room. The simple fact of the matter is that Barzi, do you know what? You could have the next 2 minutes explain again why the boards are so in danger, if you like.
I don't know the ins and outs of how they are stored, but I said the same. If you go back, you'll drag up a tweet where I said the same. That the dartboards is all about how and where they are stored. Now, I've got a Blade X up in the office. Jar, you were having a chuck on it today. That has been kept at room temperature and stored in normal conditions since I've had it. When I'm in the office, I probably have a chuck for an hour a day, maybe an hour and a half a day, and I have never, ever had an issue with it. Now, I don't know how these boards are stored and kept, but if this isn't just the Blade X, this is any board. Sisal is a living plant. If it's stored somewhere boiling hot or freezing cold, and you take that out and stick it in the reverse of what it's stored in, it is going to react. It is going to dry out and go hard, and so on. So my first thing is, how are these boards being stored? I'd like to know, because if they're stored somewhere freezing cold and then just plonked on a stage with extreme heat, it's going to do funny things to it. That's just the science of the Sisal. That I think going back, this is probably 4 or 5 years. Wayne Mardle did a really good video. I think it might still be on his YouTube channel about this exact thing. That boards, and he out of his own money, he bought one of the best boards from each manufacturer at the time, and how they reacted being kept at different temperatures and so on. It's really, really good, and it's worth a watch. Look, could there be a problem? Yes, there could be. But I'm also saying there are lots of other factors going into how a board reacts than just that's a shit board.
I'll tell you what's going to be a challenging discussion in our house. When I re-engineer our wine fridge to store dartboards at a specific temperature to avoid bounce outs. When Mrs. S goes for a bottle of Pinot and finds there's 2 Blade X's stacked in there.
I don't proclaim to be an expert, but I just read information and take information on from people that are, when you listen to them talk. I say Wayne did a really good piece on his own channel about it. Excuse me.
Well, one more comment about this, about improving the qualifying criteria for non-tour card holders because there was a lack of stories. and I know this might sound really crap, but it's a TV ranked major tournament. I don't, with the best way in the world, the non-qualifiers. This makes me. Oh god, this is going to be used as a clip now on socials, isn't it? The tour card holders, they're not the biggest part of that story. Obviously, everybody wants those brilliant runs, like the Barry Lyns of the world and the Rob Crosses and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a TV ranked major. Like the PDC tour card holders should get the best crack at it because they're the ones that've got the tour card. And for a lot of them, it's their only chance of getting some decent money for the entire year. That's my thoughts anyway.
Come on, so this one here. So the PDC can't store boards. Look, they haven't got a massive warehouse or factory to store stuff. So when you're traveling like they are at the moment, the rigging team and so on are on the road 24/7. So the likelihood is those boards are in the back of a lorry or a van because you've got to transport them somehow. You can't just whisk them there. They have to be transported. Then when you're on site, they're probably there for a few days while they're setting up the stage and everything like that. So it's logistically tougher than just, store them here.
Well,
is the thing.
I'm about to say, you're talking about logistics. Next year, they need to put like a private chartered ferry on from Cardiff to Minehead. 12 miles is the bloody crow flies. It takes you an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes to get round the fucking Wrekin. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations.
Yeah, I actually don't think. I think the qualifying criteria was okay for the UK Open. Look, do I think they could do it a little bit better? Yeah, 100% in terms of. I still like the amateur qualifiers, but I think a better system could be used. So they're more local, but in general, the makeup is fine. It's down to everyone else to get better.
Yeah. Final question on the weekend. When does he hit 3 million? When does he do it? Because he will. When does he hit 3 million ranking points?
Well, he's on 29. He's on 29.6. So very soon.
So
I mean, does he go to? Do you reckon he might go to the? I think he might win the third Euro Tour. Where's that in? Remember, because he's obviously not going to Guskin this weekend.
So he's defending 30,000 ranking points at ET5. So ET2, 3, and 4 are two of those not in Germany.
Belgium in Visa in 2026. That's ET3, and ET4 is Munich.
Where's ET5?
ET5, that is in Sindelfingen.
It's not doing that.
So I think that maybe here's one for you. If he goes and wins in Belgium, do you reckon he might turn up to Leicester for one of them, and just to go and break the record?
No. Why would you want to get? But again, really, and I don't know that this would be the type of decision he might make. If you were going to tick over the 3 million, why would you want to do it untelevised in a sports hall in Leicester?
Do you know what? That's an extraordinarily fair point, Daniel.
Remember,
he's
only
you want to do it on the telly with it, and I would also think that commercially. We talked. How long did we talk earlier? Shoulder content. People want an interview, and people. If he's going to pass the 3 million mark, do we want it in Leicester behind closed doors, or do we want it on a stage?
But
he's only defending round one money at the match play. He's only defending 10 grand at the match play. So the likelihood is the world match play.
The thing is, though, is that if he were to break it in Leicester, PDC TV subscriptions would be going through the roof.
Yeah. So the likelihood is, I think the match play he breaks it.
I think there might be something else. I think he might just do a European tour or something like that. But
there we go. Officially doing Belgium, and then that's it for a while.
There we go. From the horse's mouth.
Probably
Thank
3
you.
million ranking points at the match play is the likely one.
Okay. Well, that's it, isn't it? Done. Minehead for another year. Well, I know November, but
November.
Buckers agrees. Leicester, not a chance.
Yes, you know it, Buckers. You know it, mate. You know it. You know it.
We touched on it earlier. Just a brief one before we move on. No one said that no one would dominate the sport again. We are bordering that territory. Yep. I'm not saying we're there yet, but we are bordering that dominance that Taylor had, that Van Gerwen had.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
I don't know what more you want to say on it, Barzy.
Yes.
When do we class it as domination?
Now. There's no one else that can touch him. There's no one. No one else can touch him.
I tell you what. I mean, yeah, I tend to agree, but I think I think it's almost too easy to say yes because you're right. You know, he keeps winning things, but I think if you can go back to back on the match play, having gone back to back on the World Championships, then I don't know if you've taken the two biggest ranking events and you've back to back them both. I don't know how you can then. You'd be struggling to argue that he wasn't dominating the sport almost because if no one else is picking up big and again, if he does that again, if he back to backs the match play, that the gulf in ranking money between him and everybody else is going to continue to get bigger, and that's going to be a wider gap for people to make up, and it's going to stay there for longer. So I think that, you know, in terms of making a real bold statement that no one can have a whinge about or argue again, is if he back to backs the match play.
Yeah. That's about right. Yeah.
So it's been spoken about in the chat room. I mean, I'm just trying to see. So the only I can see is the PDC extended their partnership with Butlins until at least the end of 2026.
They're not gonna stop it.
Hang on. Well, they have to extend it. I've just paid to go back next year.
Yeah. It says at least. So, but
I'll be good if I have to go to Minehead for 3 days next year and there's no bloody darts on.
Someone has asked, has it outgrown Butlins? Has the UK Open?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm not an expert in holiday camps.
Centre Parks, let's have some fucking class. Middle class centre parks. Get rid of Butlins, triple the price, and let's have some class in darts. It's going to Centre Parks.
You just ruined the conversation. Fuck's sake.
I can't think of where it would go to if you are going to do the weekend like it is.
The simple fact is this, right? And I mentioned it at the top of the show. The break sold out by Saturday. You tried to rebook on Thursday afternoon, didn't you, Daniel? You could not get in. The queue was that long. You could not get in. I had to wait an hour and 50.
I had to go to the pub instead.
Yes, exactly. I had to wait an hour and 15 minutes to rebook on Friday. And by that point, all the table stuff had gone. Gone. It has outgrown it because you can't see it in person. We talked about this before. We talked about it with the match play, and we talked about it with the world and all that sort of stuff. Yes, it has outgrown it, but unfortunately, and this makes me sound really elitist, and I don't want to. The UK Open and the Players' Championship Finals are the last two events where I would say proper darts fans have a chance of getting in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because obviously, because like I am all for new fans of a sport coming along. I absolutely love it. You want the sport to continue to grow, but there are people that have been there and have done the darts for years and years and years that deserve that recognition. You see the same faces every year. You get to know people. You get to meet people, and also as well with that particular weekend is so special because it's the only time of the year where every single tour card holder has a chance of going through and doing something special. So you have so many people that you get to meet, so many different people, and so everybody just converges on this one place. And I'd hate to see it gone. But if you want new people to come in, absolutely, it has outgrown Minehead because no one can get a ticket. I mean, you can just about get a ticket for the Players' Championship finals by by hook or by crook. You can maybe just about get a space. The UK Open, you ain't got a Open else chance nowadays.
So for those that know Minehead, you could get in from, I believe, 12 o'clock on the Thursday if you booked that particular package. They were queuing out the door by 20 past 12. So from the booking office, they were queuing out the door by 20 past 12 on the Thursday for those that arrived on that day. And then on the Friday, they were still queuing, trying to rebook at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it opened at 9 a.m.
Yes. And on Saturday, the queue on 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, the queue was that far back. It was basically near the go-kart track.
And they've currently got 2 events announced, if you like. So, in the calendar, there are 2 events announced: the Players' Championship finals in November, and then UK Open again next March. Both of those are complete. You can't go, and you could only go to those events if you went to the last one, because they don't go on general sale. They don't go on sale at all because everybody who's already there goes back the next year and books it.
And like I say, and I was speaking to someone from the PDC about this, and they said, like you say, we were fortunate, weren't we, Dan, in 2023, that something came up, and we got a rebooking, and we got in, and therefore then we are now in the club, we are in the in the Life Brigade club if we want to be, and I get that that's how it works, and that's how Butlins have always done it, but perhaps there has to be at least some reservation. It's like. Everyone talks about this loyalty system and all the rest of it now in PDC darts, and there probably does need to be something about that. Obviously, people who've always had season tickets for the match play still get a chance to do that, and I think that's great. Maybe we need to reserve, I don't know, 50, 75 breaks for people who haven't had an opportunity to go. Do you know what I mean? Maybe keep some of the comfort rooms back for general sales so that people still have a chance. I'm not saying they're going to get one. You're going to have to be extraordinarily lucky, but maybe keep some of them back so they can go on general sale.
In the queuing to rebook system isn't quite very 21st century. If you go and have a walk around Butlins and Minehead, they're not quite yet in the 18th century. Some of the facilities there, but that is part of the charm.
That's very well put. The Premier League Roadshow rolls on. Luke Littler wins his first night in Cardiff, and I stand by what I said, and I think the night before the UK Open should just be a free week. They should just work the calendar so there's no Premier League night the night before the UK Open.
Well, the fact is that Luke got there on site about 2 o'clock on Friday morning. I mean, I didn't get there till 1:15, and obviously I just had to do the interview and get it turned round. You did the interview in terms of getting it out for me so I could get down there. And I know a load of the PDC boys didn't get down there till about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not conducive to a decent. It's not conducive. Why not just for one night of the year put the fucking thing on a Wednesday?
Or just do it. Just schedule in a blank week.
I don't mind that.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, start a week early or finish a week late and have one off.
And pencil in 1 week off where they can concentrate on the UK Open.
Agreed, totally. I mean, obviously it was a decent night's darts. I mean, how Gezi beat Stephen Bunting, I've got no idea. The crowd got involved, which is fine. But for whoever's Bunting's got in Liverpool, they'll do the same. He's got Clayton there, so the crowd will get involved there. But Gezi should not have won that game, absolutely not. But I think the biggest thing is that Littler beating Brock with 7 points lower in the averages, I think just sort of freed him up a little bit. Just went, "Oh yeah, no, I'm back," and then he destroyed Welsh hopes single-handedly. Gezi, that performance against Gezi, that 6-3. I mean, he made 111 look pedestrian. That's how good he was. Yeah, I looked at the stats after the game and I just went, Jesus, he's averaged 111. Bloody Nora.
I was back in my Airbnb after the curry and I watched that. It was just a ridiculous game.
No, but it was more the fact of like, I when I looked at the stats, I just went, how was he averaged 111? Although I mean, taking out the big fish was class.
Well, even in the final, when Johnny missed 2 darts to go 5-4 up, and as soon as he missed them, it was like, yeah, this one's done.
Yep. And averaged 106 in that. Shite.
But this week we move on, night 6, as we enter Robin Hood country. We are off to Nottingham, the Motorpoint Arena.
We
as a brand, we
the channel, the Royal We.
Yeah. Some of us have wanted 2 weeks off, but they're weirdly enough are going back for Dublin. Funny how that works, isn't it? Don't know weird how that fucking works, isn't it?
To be fair, I will have the stuff in the car at Cheltenham just in case anything happens. I've had to make a mad dash across.
Yes. Yeah. You go on a Thursday, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I know who you're going with as well. I know which box you're in. You're in the same one again as last year, aren't you?
You are correct. Level of the final jump.
Yes, with a certain bookmaker that may sponsor that day. Yes,
I don't know what you're on about, but yes. I am in the box. But we are off to Nottingham. Not my favourite night. However,
he's hit darts.
No,
he's hit darts.
It's just soulless.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Totally.
The quarter-final lineup is as follows: Josh Rock against Stephen Bunting. Johnny Clayton takes on Michael Van Gerwen. Luke Humphreys takes on Gian Van Veen. And Gerwin Price locks horns once more with Luke Littler. So, chat room as well. Get involved as we do some score predictions. Rock against Bunting. What are we saying?
Well, Brock did beat him in the UK Open recently. In the last 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rob, collar and tie job. But one thing you know about Baz is that he never wears a tie to anything. He has to.
No, I've already got roll neck and jacket. There's no tie involved.
Yes, I know you'll have a roll neck. The thing is, you'll have a roll neck and a jacket on, shorts and flip flops.
Yes. He never wears anything
or as the look is known in the fashion world, the Baz
look. Yeah, the Phil Baz. The fact is that he will check. Here's a story. Here's a little bit of inside baseball for you, everybody. Baz has to wear jeans or trousers in the press room because that's the rules in the PDC. But as soon as the drive home happens, as soon as he's ready for the drive home, it will be shorts and flip flops. It's part of a ritual that he has.
I drive to the event in shorts and flip flops and put my jeans on in the car park normally.
Yes, yes. I'm going to say that Josh Rock gets his first win. And I'm going to go with a 6-3 victory. There, I've said it.
I mean, he's right on everything other than he has given Stephen Bunting one too many legs. It'll be 6-2 to Josh Rock.
I am going for I am titanium. And then 6-4 to the bullet.
Okay. Yeah.
Johnny Clayton against MVG. I think this is tough.
It is.
I think they're both playing okay.
Yeah. I think okay is probably about where I'm happy to go to. They're both playing okay. I think, I think it's Johnny. I think it's Johnny. I think it's Johnny 6-4.
Well, the chat room's pretty split, to be fair. And so am I. I ain't got a fucking clue who I'm picking. Darts is the winner. That's who I'm picking.
We don't
Darts.
work like that on this channel. Get your ass off the fence and give me a name.
Clayton wins 6-5, but it will go last leg decider.
See, that didn't hurt, did it?
Yeah. After this weekend, everything does, Daniel. Philip, everything does.
Including your eyesight as well. Phil,
Yeah,
Dan,
clearly. I'm struggling today.
I am going to go. I agree. I think it'll be 6-5 as well, and I'm going 6-5 to Mighty Michael Van Gerwen.
Oh,
Shock.
I haven't picked him for a while, to be fair. I'll have you know.
Well, you pick him everything. Well, watch out with a lifetime.
I said Humphreys would beat him last week, and he did.
That's because he wanted to get in the car to Minehead.
Yeah, to be fair, the chat room is fully on board with the ferret. There's a few MVG shouts, but chat room fully behind Johnny Clayton right now. This next one, Luke Humphreys against Jan van Veen.
Now, we had a conversation, didn't we, Daniel, last night?
I was about to
That we
say,
said
I never had a conversation. I wonder where you were going with this.
About the two Lukes, didn't we?
yes, we did.
We said that Luke Humphreys currently at the moment, he's getting further and further away from being in the same bracket as Luke Littler. But this is where it changes because he's playing too well. I think he gets over the line against Hian. And I think Hian, for me, has been one of the most consistent players so far in a Prem. But I'm going to go 6-4 Humphreys.
We're agreeing too much. It's a very, very alarming.
Yes. Don't like it.
So which way do I go? Because I'm not going to agree completely.
Friends is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Not after this weekend.
Yes, Jar's learned a few lessons, and so have I, but mine have all been intolerance and patience and things like that. 6. No, do you know what? I think he comes at it. I think some of the things that the theories that that where and I think he's conscious of becoming a little bit further away in terms of that Luke's conversation, and the Luke's is becoming Luke. And I think, and I genuinely believe he's so good. Humphreys is such a good player that sooner or later there's a fire gets lit in him, and he comes out playing, somewhere near the best we've seen of him. 6-2 Humphreys.
6-3 Humphreys. I think someone is due a spanking off Luke Humphreys. That his scoring has been incredible. He's missed doubles here and there, but they're not a million miles away. They're ones where they're all across the wire, and he's looking, going, how is one of them not dropping? At some point, if you keep throwing that well, they end up going in, and someone gets an absolute battering at some point. So Humphreys wins for me. The last one, Gerwin Price against the Nuke. This could be unbelievable.
We saw it happen last week, didn't we? I think that Gerwin Price is going to be seriously pissed off that he does not make the UK Open final. And I think, as I said to you earlier on, the only chance you're getting at Wonder Boy is maybe in a 11-leg shootout. Sod it. Price wins 6-4. Sod it. Let's go. I want to manifest chaos. You know this, boys.
Oh, I've got a prediction that's going to manifest something in a minute. Don't worry.
No. Littler 6-5.
Okay.
Littler 6-4, but they both hit 9 darts.
I mean,
there we go.
Contact your bookmaker.
Well, so he'll be back. He'll be back in that after he's won a load at Cheltenham on Thursday.
If Kopeck de Boer wins tomorrow, I'm certainly going to have a pun on it.
Oh yeah, you go Kopeck de Boards. You actually?
I backed it about 4 weeks ago at 7-2.
What for the champion hurdle?
It was too big.
You are a madman.
Ha!
Lossiemouth pisses it. Let's have it right. She's a champion. She's unbelievable.
Hasn't Lossiemouth gone to the Mares?
No, she's gone. She's definitely on champion, hasn't she?
I thought she went to the
Anyway,
Mares.
I'll
Anyway,
check
we'll
that.
talk
You
about
go.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So, from your predictions, who beats who in the final?
Johnny beats Josh Rock in the semi, and he makes the final. And Luke Humphries beat Gervin Price in the semi. So it's Johnny versus Luke, and Luke Humphries wins. As I said, I agree with you, Phil, that someone is due a spanking, and the darting world is due a reminder that Luke Humphries is still an absolutely unbelievable darts player, and I think he reminds people of that this week. Yeah.
Someone is due a spanking, and the world is due reminding that Josh Rock is an absolutely unbelievable darts player.
Are you high
On life.
Yes.
I mean, I've laughed more in the last 3 days than I've laughed in the last 6 months. So I might be having some sort of, I don't know, moment of clarity, perhaps. Yeah, Josh Rock's going to win.
I mean, you're wrong, but, fair play for having that opinion.
He's going to beat Luke Humphries in the final. He's going to beat him 6-3.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Price wins 6-4. Sorry, Humphries wins 6-4 against Price.
Luke Humphries will beat Michael Van Gerwen in the final by 6 legs to 3. I'm going for.
Sorry, just going back to our earlier conversation. Kopech's going in the Arkle. I was thinking, I was like, "There's no way he's going. There's no way he's going in the champion hurdle." No, okay, yeah. No, in that case, I could sort of understand that one. Yeah,
I'd say I got him at 7-2. He was 11-8 this morning when I looked. I think
he's about 6-4 now. I think, isn't he? Yeah, 6-4. There you go. Rocky Hood. That's great from Lauren. Actually, that's absolutely outstanding. I'll take you. I'll give you that. Good stuff. Good work.
So that is the Premier League. A week in darts. There's been a lot.
Oh, the man at the weekend, obviously. I think Moreno Blom won the men's, didn't he?
I didn't, because I was at Minehead. I didn't see any of the Isle of Man.
No, but I'm just looking at it. Obviously, Moreno Blom beat Daniel Zapata 5-1 in that one in the men's. In the ladies, Leanne Topper winning again, which is good. Stuff to see there. Yeah, good. All really good. I mean, to be fair, it's good that obviously there's still a big tournament on for people who aren't interested in the UK Open. But if there's a chance to there, oh yeah, Jack Drayton, of course, winning back-to-back PDC Dev Tours titles, and then he's won the Isle of Man Youth, I think, as well. So was it Youth? Was it singles? Yeah, he won the singles. Sorry, there we go. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's good. I mean, Pete, I'd love it if the Isle of Man, because it's such a big one. I'd love it if it wasn't on the same weekend as the UK Open, to be honest, so we can watch it.
I'll tell you what, I saw it all kicking off a little bit at the weekend, and I haven't had a chance to fully digest it. But it looks like the UK DA are just fucking around with the county system again, like moving fixtures, clashing things. It just looked. I haven't had a chance to digest it yet, but I was looking in Facebook groups. So we'll have a look at that and possibly have a look at that next weekend. That, again, just fucking themselves over, that they've got to work together so things don't clash, and then they just fucking up.
Makes it very, very hard for themselves often.
Correct. Neil Duff, a 6 times winner at the Super Series. The Duff Man booked his place at Champions Week. Congratulations to him, as always. We will get him on the show one day when he doesn't.
No chance.
I know he watches this.
It's more likely if some of these people in the chat room get a ticket to the UK Open than there is a Duffy getting on this getting coming on the channel. Jesus.
Yeah, look, Gob said it there. UKDA might be sticking the final. Look, in my opinion, there is still a place for county darts in the darting landscape, just not in its current form.
Yeah, I don't know what more you want me to add to that, because I think that
there is a place for it, just not the way it's currently done.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. Yeah, good.
Who is the OD bowling champ then?
Oh, God, what it! He was absolutely outstanding. To be fair, I will give the credit where credit is due. Everybody else broke 100 apart from me. I as per usual, let the side down in the athletic wise. I just talk shit.
That's the only man I know who he throws darts underarm and he throws 10-pin balls overarm. I don't know how he does it.
Is he like Joff coming down down the alley?
I'm a medical marvel, as we know on many occasions, Daniel. As we saw this weekend, I'm a medical marvel.
First man I've seen to pitch up a googly and 10-pin bowling.
I was bowling a half tracker, to be fair. I was getting absolutely sent all over the gaff.
Again, love having Dave in the chat room. Going to require you guys to make March Madness brackets.
Dave, you know me, mate. I'm here for it. March Madness this weekend. Let's go. The only time I actually get excited about grown men doing PE. That's what basketball is.
Here, Jar, did you get to meet Barney in Minehead?
No.
Yeah, and do you know why? He tried to, but he's chasing him with his autograph book, and he's going, Barney, but he's going, oh, not him again, and he's trying to get away from him. You tried, mate, didn't you? You tried.
I really didn't.
So again, what did we make of the James Hurrell incident? Look, I wasn't in there, but just for me watching it unfold on the screen in the multi-board room, you are going to get shit. Because friends and family are at the barrier of a certain player. If that player has more people than your people, they are going to make more noise.
Yes.
It's what the multi-board room is about.
Yep. Bookers. There you go. Bye. Look, the simple fact is that there's no problem with it. Like, I mean, we saw it from a bit of a distance. I think we were on board 4 at the time. I can't remember. It might have been Niall actually, but it just seemed a bit of something over nothing, really.
Yeah, it is what it is. You will all be pleased to know I did get a sit down with Matt Porter in Minehead.
Hello, Matthew.
That will be coming out probably tomorrow. Got a good 30 minutes with him as well. Some really good bits in there to look forward to. They are looking at changing some things that perhaps haven't gone as well and so on. So it's good. That's going to need to get that ready. So that is there. This will be available as an audio only in the morning from all good podcast providers. So make sure you check that out. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe. Plenty of content coming your way. But thank you so much for all the support across the UK Open. Tonight's show has absolutely flown by. It has been epic. You guys absolutely smashed it. So thank you very much. Thank you for all the people that met up with the boys in
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots, because I was interviewing Matt at the time. It was the only time Matt could do it. So apologies I wasn't there. But thank you so much for all the support.
And one more. Thank you to every single person who's come up to us all throughout the weekend and said that they love the show. If they don't love the show as well, but still wanted to come and say hello, which a couple of people have done. But just wanted to say, thank you for all the support from all of us. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very, very much.
Also, Bob says, so.
Oh, here we go.
Right. Because I am not in Nottingham and Jar is,
Twat.
I will do a watch along for Thursday's Premier League for you.
I'm just going to say this once and once only. Do you really honestly believe that you will get back from Cheltenham in time to do the Premier League watch along?
Yes.
Okay.
I got back from Glasgow in 5 hours, 40 minutes.
You shouldn't say that out loud, Philip.
I haven't told them where I lived. But I'm saying,
Premier League watch along, you sir.
yes.
I think I might be free. I think I might be free Thursday.
Yeah.
Does
Does that mean we might go just straight into the Fallout bar as well?
We could have the first ever Fallout along. I don't know.
PB
Fallout along. Watch out!
PB making a debut on the Fallout bar for a Premier League.
The Fallout along, the watch out. I don't know. We'll try and come up with something. We might be able to transition between.
But then also, we have a European tour as well. So we will be streaming plenty, which will be good. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for us all. But thank you so much for the support. And of course, here this evening, I'm in Phil Bars, Dan Simpson, Jonathan Eaton. We are signing out. And for one last time, going in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, Jolliffe. Thanks for being in the Barney Army.